I remember speaking to the great Dr. Dot, therapist down there in Baltimore, and she was speaking about the crisis of domestic abuse amongst teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been exposed to that?
Yeah. So we call it now intimate partner violence. Because before with domestics, the concept of domestic violence usually only applied to people who were like married. Essentially, that's how the whole concept started in the 60s. There was no such thing as domestic violence back then. Back in the day, you was able to, you know what I mean, discipline your wife. Now, the abuse has got to a point to where it's been so barbaric, you know, in some cases and deadly. And what a lot of people don't know, 50% of deaths of women, almost half of homicides by women, are done by an intimate partner. So, you know, when that speaks volumes, that's an issue. The problem we have, especially in our community, we have a lot of emotional.
I'm about to say, what's up with dudes, bro? That's kind of wild, yeah.
Sad, dude. It's sad. It's disgusting, man. And we got a lot of emotionally disturbed, emotionally broken men out here. You know what I mean? Where, you know, it goes back to just even encountering when black men encounter black men or black boys, like the emotional insecurity that we have, too many of us have in our community is a problem. We're using permanent methods to deal with temporary problems, right? Like, oh, she hurt my feelings, or she stepped out, or she's leaving me. I'm gonna go ahead and take her up out of here. You know, too many of these guys are putting these chicks in trunks and suitcases and leaving their body. We see it all the time, and it's tragic. So intimate partner violence is a real problem, and it goes both ways too. You know, women are hurting, harming, and abusing men too, but to the extent that men are doing it to women is crazy. What's the problem? The problem is you have too many men who don't know how to control their emotions. That's it. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They believe that they have possession over a person, and they believe that that person can't have a life outside of them. No matter what that woman does, whether she cheats, she steps out, she does something wild, and women can do some foul things. At the end of the day, regardless of what they do, nothing is, no point in time is taking her life a justified response for what she did to you emotionally. You get what I'm saying? And unfortunately, some guys don't see it that way. They believe that taking their life is a justified response to the emotional pain that they have.
Talk about the teenagers.
Mm-hmm. So the teenagers, what's happening, I think there's a culture that's been brewing of like a lot of young couples who are engaging in intimacy at such a young age. And a lot of times they don't really understand that bond that comes from being intimate like that. They don't understand what that is, and they're trying to figure out ways to express. This is what I'll say. A lot of people don't realize how spiritual intimacy is, like actually interacting with someone. And I think because they're so young and don't understand that concept, you have this whole Romeo and Juliet thing where it's like, if I can't have you, no one can, no one else will. And I think that ends up creating this very unhealthy dynamic. A lot of these kids are trying to emulate relationships they see on social media. They're emulating relationships they see on TV. And now this has become a thing where it's like the music is encouraging a lot of this unhealthy and toxic relationship behavior. You hear them singing about it, rapping about it. And I just think our kids, these young adults, are being raised by entertainers. They're being raised by, you know, these rappers, these R&B artists, and they want to emulate that as much as possible, man. And they're just too young, man. And ultimately what ends up happening is these kids end up engaging in like these marriages that they think are marriages in a sense because they spiritually become entwined with each other. And then when it's time to where that other person's moving on, they have a hard time breaking that bond to the point to where they emotionally do things that's so reckless that cost them someone's life or their life.